Why were you getting so exhausted from that?
I think it was a combination of bad diet. I was trying to be a vegetarian, and I had no idea. I was eating cheese and Marmite toasted sandwiches.
Fucking awesome. That sounds so good.
Yeah, not every
If
night.
I was going to be a vegetarian, that's all I'd eat. Cheese and Marmite.
I just had no idea.
Can vegetarians eat cheese? Yeah, of course they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's vegans.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was things like really heavy carbs, a bit of fruit thrown in, So what I know now works best for me is completely different. So.
Do you listen to Joe Rogan?
Oh yeah.
Have you listened to the Rick Rubin podcast?
Yeah, just finished it. Yeah.
It's incredible because that guy, how he talks about creativity. But he was talking about how he went on the vegan diet for a long time and gained a considerable amount of weight and felt like absolute shit. Mm-hmm. And then he went on, more of a protein only, fat diet.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I've kind of taken a leaf out of your book. Yeah. I've gained a bit of weight, though.
Have you?
Yeah, around the old belly. Like, not much, but I think I'm still getting used to the calories.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm realising now is, like, the other night I had, like, lamb steaks, which were beautiful, but I cooked them in a good serving of olive oil. But then I throw some mozzarella in as well. Uh-huh. But, dude, I'm a pig, so I don't just have, like, half a ball of mozzarella. I have a whole ball of mozzarella, full fat. So I'm looking at this thinking, well, there's the lamb steaks, there's all the fat on the lamb steaks, there's the olive oil, and there's the mozzarella. Uh-huh. It's probably 1,200, 1,400 calories in this. Yeah, but it was beautiful with, I put the cabbage in the oil that I cut the lamb steaks in.
Yeah.
Spring greens, loads of vegetables. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. Man. It's really nice to eat that way.
So much. My wife used to be low fat, this sort of Slimming World type.
Sure, and so did I. It just seems like the right thing to do. Even though it's not, it's not really. It just seems, I want to lose weight, low fat. And there is an argument, like if you're like 5 stone overweight, if you switch all your full fat products to low fat, you're going to save a shitload of calories. Yeah, you might lose some weight. So is that healthier? Perhaps. But I think if you're thinking of like performance and you're in decent shape and you're talking overall health, full fat's the way to go. Yeah. But I've just got to now learn how to control my portions a bit more. Because with carbs, the good thing is you can eat a bit more. Like if you go for like oats, which I still do, I still have oats, but rice and stuff, you can eat quite a lot of those, and they're not too heavily thrown in with calories, as long as you don't like throw loads of like oils and shit over them. So I'm just getting used to that. But bacon and Brussels sprouts in the morning with eggs, I
was learning to eat.
So good.
I had one of those glucose monitors, that you stuck in your arm for a couple
for sure,
of weeks. It was really interesting. That just tried things like just porridge by itself, porridge and milk, and just seeing the spike. And then porridge mixed with peanut butter, for example, and just how the fats and the proteins just kind of moderated.
Yeah, they put a bit of control on it, don't they?
Yeah, and just seeing the data and also noticing how tired I felt. And do you know, it was because that's all I used to eat in the morning when I was kayaking was porridge, because I've been told.
Sure.
Eat porridge, it's good for you. And I'm like, all right.
Well, I don't know if you ever weighed yours out, but I have 140 grams in a bowl, which is 3.5 bowls. Uh-huh. So a serving is 40 grams.
Right.
But I always have it after a workout.
Yeah.
And it's got honey in it, and it's high in carbohydrates, it's high in simple sugars too. So I put my honey and fruits in. But I'm still in that, like, after a big workout, I still like to get my feed in. I think I'll start to eventually kind of come away from that. Yeah. But I have one meal now that's high carb based. It still has the protein powders in and stuff because I need that. But then 2 of my other meals out of my 3 are fat and protein. Yeah. Although I cheated a bit last night, I had some beautiful roasted butternut squash. Which isn't too bad. Do you know what I mean?
We're not talking white sugar and flour here.
No, that's what I mean. It's pretty good. Yeah. But my energy's not been brilliant yet. I think it takes a bit of time for the body to get used to it. So we'll see. Because that's the main reason I did it. 1 for gut health and 2 for energy. Yeah. Wasn't really to do with weight or physique. Sure. So I'm just playing around. But it's fun.
It is. Yeah.
Cooking with like mozzarella in the morning in the morning is fun. Butter as well.
Yeah. Well, that changed my whole, like, going back to kayak, that changed my whole day, was having a decent breakfast, and I started throwing in veggies and kind of like tofu and rice, and just having like a big stir fry with peanuts on top, and all of a sudden, as opposed to this kind of emptiness I felt after the porridge, learning to eat properly, fuel my day, I was like, oh man, that made a world of difference to my attitude.
Do you know who Tom Bellew is? Tom Bilyeu. Yeah. He swears that like one, not drinking White Monster cured his anxiety, which I was fucking devastated to hear, because White Monster rocks. I love White Monster. And two, he was like, diet. He was like, you can perform and achieve all sorts, but if you're eating food that makes you feel like shit, like it kind of like mutes all the goodness that you're doing with your life, because you don't experience it because you feel like shit. Yeah. And when you put it black and white like that, it's like, wow, that makes sense. It's a bit like trying to celebrate something whilst you're angry, isn't it? It's just they're complete polars. So it's like, well, of course you can't feel good if you're putting shit into your body. Yeah. It's the first place we should start, right?
It seems to be the easiest. It just seems confusing because you get on the internet, right? And there's 16 different ways of eating. No, eat this way, eat that way. Eat that. It's like, where does someone start?
I know, and I still don't believe there's one rule fits all, but I think there's some key principles, isn't there, around eating. But people still think it's crazy when I suggest that you eat, like, bacon's okay for breakfast, or beef mince, like what we were talking about. People are like, really? it's granola's still ticking the box for a lot of people, which is fucking terrible, by the way. Yeah. Especially the shit in the box that you get from the. Yeah. If you make your own, it can be healthier, but still, like, good luck with your blood sugar after that. Like, you're going to be up and then down crashing. So, but it's trying to explain that to people. But it takes time and effort. You have to like anything. You have to put a bit of effort into research in these things. But like I say, where do you do your research? Because Google will tell you 20 different things, right? Yeah.
There's a girl on Instagram called the @glucosegoddess. And it's very focused towards women, but she's got some amazing tips just on just flattening your blood sugar, which has that effect of making me feel better. There's high spikes and drops. It's like, but it's really simple. Like, she talks about having a savory breakfast as opposed to a sweet one. If you're going to have carbs, just add some protein and fat with it, just so you don't get that same kind of spike.
Yeah, but I'm not sure people even know what proteins and fats are. And again, it's not an insult to people. I just think people are a bit stupid around food. Like, they just really don't know what proteins are. I mean, that's the base level we're talking about sometimes. Yeah, I'm really guilty of this. I was saying this on the other podcast, as you know. I assume people know. I assume people know what a fat is, what a protein is, what a carb is, and people don't. Yeah. People still don't relate, like, alcohol, fruit, vegetables as carbs. And again, because people think carbs instantly, like, bad, but people don't know the difference. And I'm not sure what proteins are. So I think some of the Instagram influences, though, like, from some of the ones that I used to see, like, for example, I can eat a lot differently because I've got myself into good shape than somebody who is trying to get into good shape. So again, it's all so confusing. So I think some of my clients look at me and go, Alex, how do you eat all of that shit and still stay lean? I'm like, well, I've spent 18 years lifting weights, training really hard. I know my body well. I know what tips it over the edge. I know exactly what I can eat, and I do push it to the limit. I think you should. I think when you're lean, one of the challenges is to eat as much as you physically can while staying lean, because then you can still perform. You're not starving yourself. You're not under eating. You're giving your body what it needs. But that takes a long time to know. So it's. I think everyone's starting at a different place. But there's things like fruits and vegetables that everyone should just instantly just start throwing in their diet, right? More of. Well, I'm reading Sapiens at the minute. We talk about scurvy back in the day. Like, sailors, I think, like, this expedition, like, everyone pretty much died because of scurvy. It's because they were eating biscuits and beef jerky. That was it. So they were eating they were getting no vitamin C, no fruits, no vegetables. And as soon as they started eating citrus fruits, it went. So there's some basic stuff in there, isn't there, that people can start from? Just eat some fruit, eat some veg.
Who's that medical doctor, Rhonda?
Oh, Patrick.
Rhonda Patrick?
Yeah.
I remember listening to a podcast with her, and she was talking about just supplementing some prison community with a multivitamin, and the incredible change in the behavior, just giving them fish oil multivitamin.
Wow.
It was just how aggression dropped, all the good things you want from prisoners, from rehabilitation or whatever. These guys having a better time of it and coming out the other side was they just dropped in some multivitamin. That was it. And these changes were she was saying was mind blowing. So
yeah, she's very smart. She's a very smart lady.
She's too smart for me.
Way too smart for me, dude. Yeah, like I put a podcast on the other day on Alan Huberman, I think it was. And within 20 minutes, I was like, I've just got to turn this shit off. I was like, I've just read some heavy shit. I can't listen to heavy shit now. She's too smart for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nutrition was one of the things that you did. And then did that then change your perspective on things? So what actually moved you from, took you out of the kayaking world